John Frederick. John?
My name's John, and I'm wrong group. Sorry. Larry Gatlin's here. I don't know Larry well, but I used to chase him around golf courses all over the country, and I caught him one time in Palm Springs, and it was at, it doesn't matter. But anyway, I came up, do you know Dr. Joe Pursch? And he said, well, all I owe that man is my life. Now that's the worst Southern accent you've ever heard, and the only one worse was Dr. Pursch's Southern accent, which I may call Croatian Dixie. Anyway, I met Joe in 1972, and he spoke. I was taken with him. I was a GS1 or something at the time, between engagements, as we say in the business. And what I liked about him was he approached the subject with humor. I had cataloged all the movies made about alcoholism, and Joe spoke with humor and yet with insight. And he and I had one idea, and that is to take the happy endings that you found in movies like The Lost Weekend and Days of Wine and Roses, which were disguised, and at the very tail end of the movie, we wanted to move those happy endings up in the movies, and that's what we tried to do. So everything we did had recovery in the name. Alcohol, pills, and recovery. Life, death, and recovery. So here we started in the movie business with Joe. The thing I remember about Father Martin, you wind him up and say, do 45 minutes, and he'd do 45 minutes, and he was off. He never needed a script. He never needed anything. Joe was a little fearful of the process, and we had to do some retakes. And so there was a lot of cutting and pasting on the first picture. We got on, and we made a lot of good movies. We're together over the years. We loved working with each other. He loved gossip, so I could give him movie gossip, and he'd give me he was very guarded, of course. He wouldn't tell me what was going on. But I want to tell you about Joe, the orchestrator of things. Now, to get to the Navy on alcoholism, he founded a group. He had a group of people he'd take around. One of them was a guy who had been discharged, or anyway, he was out on a patrol boat in the South China Seas, manning a machine gun in his own patrol boat and shooting every coconut tree in the country. Didn't hit anybody, and didn't hit anybody on the other side either, so he had to go. He looked like Jim Garner, though. And so the next one was a blonde who looked like Doris Day, a Navy lieutenant. And she made her Tory, and then one of these admirals, they're four-star admirals, they're aviators, aviation admirals, that's all there were then. And Joe was a pilot too, so he could speak to them, and he said at first, I'm not an alcoholic, and everybody went, oh good, thank you. Anyway, the Navy lieutenant finished, and an admiral stood up and said, what did you do in the Navy, Lieutenant? And she said, I was an air traffic controller. This is a recovering alcoholic now we're talking. And these admirals, and then the last guy was a little guy named Kelly Peace, a little sailor, who said he was drunk for 24 hours a day for the last 2.5 years of his naval service. And the admiral asked the question, what did you do in the Navy, Peace? He said, I was a parachute rigger. And those people threw money at Joe Pursch, I'm telling you. They started out. Anyway, that was, he cast that thing and ran it beautifully. Anyway, toward the end, there was one thing that we talked about, and that was, would you write a book? And I encouraged him to write a book. And he never did. I think he saw too many minefields there. And so he never did write a book. I did, though. And he wrote Dear Doc. That was way back when. I was going to read that. I will. Just briefly. John, I will always remember that you were the one who discovered me. And thanks for having faith in my potential when others did not. So, that's my credit for being here, I guess. At any rate, that book never got written. And so I wrote a book called Starcatcher. And it's about, I was during COVID, and it's about a time when we had movie stars that we loved, sports stars that we admired, who played not for the, played for the game and not necessarily for money. Thomas knows about that. And presidents even, and there was one doctor, Joe Pursch. I had to shove his name in there. So I wrote a long story about Joe. And he actually was more trouble than anyone in this book. And John Wayne is here, Charlton Heston, people like that. Joe Pursch was a pain in the ass. He was. And what he would do is he wanted to make changes on what I had written. Every time I finished a paragraph, he wanted to see it, and then he would make changes. And so this went on. I don't know how many changes we made for him, but it was terrific, lots. So the Saturday before he died, I went out there, and Joe was there. And as I was kissing him on the forehead, I could hear him whisper, "Page 207, you have to change that. You have to, it's not right. I'm not satisfied with that." I think I heard that. And the Joe Pursch story is worth the price of admission alone. And we had a lot of laughs, a lot of fun. We did a lot of good things together. And we never had a cross word. So it's been a great thing. Thanks.